Choosing a response. The choice to respond now becomes acknowledged only as clarity forms an awareness of a decision. However, as unclear thoughts form a haze over comprehension, we find it difficult to decide. As alternate options force a decision while alternative options are unclear. With these medications you get an imbalance in proper brain function, discernment, not the other way around. We must be able to understand right from wrong. Possessing both helps us decide either possibility. Moreover, by withholding one way of deciding, we are not able to decide, as we do not form two decisions. The word decide means we have more than one option. Yet, to withhold one, can we decide? No. The one that does form is under control of us, as drugs control this form of thought. People are better off when they understand both. Although we make bad decisions at times, people are too afraid to admit we all learn by making them. Whether we make good decisions or not at times, we all have a right to learn from consequence. It is especially important to me to understand I have options. I never liked having an alternative one withheld from my understanding. I had always wondered why I never could make a wiser decision. Confusion is an effect of stopping the mind from filtering thoughts. While filtration is important for supplying options, options are important for coming to a decision, causing the mind not to process and compare. If the mind cannot compare bad thoughts with good, then figure out a consequence for both, having ability to discern differences between the two, while learning and recalling past consequences. Good options do not coexist with us, God, as to conclude a good decision. How can anyone make better decisions without being aware of the consequences? When we make bad ones, we find meaning not to do them again. We are aware of the differences. However, while confused we never learn from them as confusion removes awareness. Even a wrong decision supplies awareness. We must be aware to change the outcome. However, intuition does not exist while confusion has its affect. The mind is forced to choose only one response as awareness of another choice is withheld, confusion. In my case I could only choose the bad one while the good was withheld. With sedation you confuse the rational side of reason. If you cannot reason with yourself, what makes you think you can reason with someone else? Therefore, can you change a decision, even before we decide to act? While focus and attention are no longer options with alternative guidance, even as they no longer exist, these bad options are held in place as continued habits. While bad thoughts are not removed as to not choose an alternative focus of positive reasons. While removing the bad and replacing it with good reasoning cannot be achieved. Therefore, alternative thoughts are removed, and a change of focus held in place. While a decision to accept a situation, even while it is bad, cannot form a feeling of acceptance. While a result of acceptance forms meaningful communication. Therefore, not found within comprehension while confused. While realizing we have no control of our own, we must come to an agreement with God by discerning while accepting He is. We are without power to decide while drugs remove a decision as to withhold one workable choice we could make instead as to resist another, having no control to choose. This control depletes desire, restricting motivation to follow through with a good decision. Not acting on sexual impurities requires a thought that leads to a decision to resist. Moreover, depleting good thoughts as vanishing thoughts are the purpose of these drugs. If you remove thoughts, we lose important motivation, while the loss of willingness to decide a better way, even changing from a negative decision to a positive decision. Therefore, you lose thoughts of understanding what you are about to do is wrong, while not being willing to make an alternative decision. Moreover, by this mental health can make others believe you have a mental or psychological illness. You will find they usually diagnose you as bipolar first. Then after years on the drugs new symptoms pop up. Then they say you have schizophrenia. Then more years pass by. They say you have schizoaffective. Once you have been on them, damage has already taken its course. Knowing they have damaged you while being excessively good at knowing how to persuade people to believe you are delusional, making people believe your beliefs are just a false reality, has damaging effects on self-esteem. While these methods demean and mislead the outcome of successful relationships, they tell people your medications just need a change. However, they tell law enforcement you stopped taking them, with recommendations to be placed back on them. They get into your family's mind, intervening as though they care about the person. They manipulate you and your family with sly and cunning words, with ungenuine kindness and believable lies. As common sense sparks awareness, they try to ease your caution while saying you can change yourself, making you believe they are not trying to control you, as if something broken can fix itself without a part of joy from who provides it, God. We cannot change our own mind by trying to do things our own way, especially when we are unaware how brokenness confuses reasoning skills. We cannot change how we feel when how we feel prevents change. It takes God doing the work while we accept we are not in control of it. Recognizing we are not, guides surrendering to change, as knowing God can change us, while leading you toward dependence on their reasoning is correct and truthful dialogue. Even common sense concludes deception with their methods. This is how they work to calm your caution, as though caution is not an exceptional quality, forming a reason not to be naive, even forming individuality. They use this method as you would, while baiting a fish. As you bite, they hook you while pulling you in with common sense. Once they have you hooked by their words as though wise and intelligent, as to mold awareness of intrigue and desirable knowledge, while desirable knowledge becomes the need to know more. Therefore, while on these drugs you form a decision leading to naive beliefs while alternative knowledge is withheld from our individuality. This concludes an approach of predatory behavior, as their victims are without knowledge they are being victimized. This is to withhold the truth of their real intent while grooming their victims for control. Therefore, their intent is to control us. Words work for properly grooming just as actions. However, the sly way they control us is by using compassionate words first. Therefore, using love as predatory control. Then comes our choice to believe they care. This lowers our guard while we decide we finally found someone who cares. However, controlling someone is not love. Love is unconditional, not conditional. However, loving words can cause us to choose not to be cautious. Psychology is deceptive. They have learned over the years methods with tricky approaches. However, the only thing they have not learned is to experience what it is like to see and speak to someone who shares the real meaning of love. While this love has come from God with the purest unconditional meaning, while we share His with each other. To use love while saying take your medication is to express, I love you and care about you. While I force you to take your medication, I can control you. Is this love or a condition to be loved? It is no different than the world's idea of respect. Just as respect is given with a condition to be accepted for who people want you to be. Mental health shows you love with a condition of who they want you to be by drugging you. Genuine love accepts you without forcing you to be what it wants you to be. I love you, they say. Does love control? No. Therefore, they are double-minded. First, they say I care. Then they say take your medication or else. Which one is love and which one is control? Therefore, God is love. God does not control us. Moreover, as you remove your caution, they use action. Every thought leading you toward not being naive melts away as they supply a possibility to alleviate your pain, to control your awareness of their intent, blinding you from their true nature, with non-genuine empathy while mixing false kindness with deceptive intent, making you give in to their personal self-help ideologies, while nothing we do to help each other nor ourselves will ever correct the cause of our struggles. Remember, we are not our own. We do not have life while we have created our own. We are alive as God gave us His. As God is controlling the creation of it. However, knowing we cannot change without help depends on who you trust for that need. Trusting men leads to no actual change. How can brokenness change brokenness, even brokenness hiding its brokenness? Compare two tools that are broken while needing to build a house. However, not having a spare. You own one and your friend does the other. You decide to buy a new one as your friend tries to fix yours with his manual tool. Being frustrated it is not going as planned. The one who buys another one, although a common idea, cannot fix his or his friend's while needing a different tool. We find ourselves without a way to build our house while we try to change on our own. When both friends need God as tools for change, we become without understanding while we depend on each other for change, as we are broken without a tool not broken, God. Trusting God leads to God changing you while He is not broken as we are. Mental health does not focus on the need of the person like they claim. No human influence can change anyone's mind when they have the same issues, sin. Mental health makes people look as though not correct in what bothers them, as though to redirect accuracy in fact, with a fact of their own. As though your thoughts have no meaning or basis for being true. As if how they are occurring, even what occurs, is an issue of concern. However, whatever they may be, they occur as an existence with good purpose. Using a method of entangled deceit, they corrupt an idea known to all for decades as visions from God. Not hallucinations as they believe. They get you to allow them to help you. Then if you are exceptionally cautious, with good reason, they will say you are in a false reality and in need of drugs to correct your delusions, prolonging the withholding of important thoughts from forming, while making you unaware of their corruption. However, experiencing what you are concerned about never finds a place in non-existence. While you know you are telling the truth, they tell people you're disabled and it is not your fault, as though redirecting people to believe you are. While lies lead people toward empathizing as though what mental health says is true, reality. Untrue and insincere love takes hold, while only this unnatural version is applied. What appears loving understanding is a wolf demanding control. Why empathize with someone while the reason is not true? When people say a disability is not their fault, yet they are liable for causing it, even admitting their guilt on older drug commercials. Yet their reason for no fault concludes inaccuracy. Being you do not have a disability, they will never say. Are there grounds for empathizing? This causes no one to help you as you really need, to be believed. They say you are just paranoid. They know you will get angry, knowing they are wrong, while having good reason to be. They are telling people things that are not true about you, as though they know you better than you do. This revealing of their corruption would cause anyone to defend themselves, even with anger, as people believe my words. They become very persistent with their lies, in an attempt not to have to face consequences. They have become what they claim they are helping us not be, while they do not take responsibility themselves. As though it is not important for them to take responsibility. While knowing what they will face, they become cowardly. This causes you to lash out on them while knowing their fears. They keep pushing their false claims as though to be calm in their response, making you look as though you are the real issue. This causes your loved ones to trust their recommendations. Therefore, hypocrisy leads to an awareness of similarity in our mind. While they use the teachings of Jesus against us while being calm and saying loving things in a deceitful way, in the midst of hate. They tell your family lies about you. If you are not motivated, you cannot properly defend yourself with expressive clarity. No one is told what happens to someone while being a slave of the system. They will never tell you. They keep these things from public awareness, while telling the public as they see fit, hiding what really happens to us. Public chemical slavery, to control you is for a drug to control your decisions as they do you molest children. The qualities of effort and loss of a decision. Motivation can be positive and negative. The way to choose which factor of motivation you apply can conclude a controlled response by a drug, compelling stereotypical reactions, even with simple communication.